Hey everyone, welcome again to Notion Treats. So here we are with another Notion social media planner template. While our original social media studio template was designed for studios and content creators managing multiple brands, this version distills everything into a clean, simple, and scalable planner made just for your brand. This template is built specifically for brands, founders, creators, freelancers, SMEs, and in-house marketing teams who want a focused system to manage social media for one brand, without chaos, spreadsheets, or juggling multiple tools. If you stick around till the end of this video, you'll really see how this system works. We've designed it to help you run your day-to-day social media operations smoothly, consistently, and without friction. As you can see, it's a stunning template. Just look at the clean structure, the thoughtful layout, and the custom covers and icons. But it's not just about looks. Behind this simplicity is a lot of intentional thinking around user experience, structure, and flow. These systems come from over 25 years of experience in UX, interface design, and Notion expertise. So even when a system grows in complexity, it always stays easy and enjoyable to use. And the cherry on top, you also get 65 plus beautifully designed, custom illustrated assets, including covers, icons, and visuals, all designed for both light and dark modes. By the way, I'm recording this walkthrough in dark mode, but if you prefer light mode, you can switch anytime with just one click from your Notion settings. This is the main dashboard, which acts as your brand workspace. Everything related to your brand's content, campaigns, analytics, planning, and more lives right here. The idea behind the clean center panel of the dashboard is to give you an instant overview of what's happening right now. Content, ad campaigns, analytics, hooks and CTAs, and hashtags and keywords. On the left side, you'll see your brand pages and all the core hubs of the system. These are interconnected databases that work together using relations. And that's what makes the system feel seamless instead of fragmented. I'll walk you through each database step by step so you can clearly see how everything connects and why it works so well. This here is a logic layer called tasks. It only needs to be set up once, and after that, it quietly works in the background to automatically calculate your daily and weekly progress, which I'll show you shortly. Let's take a closer look at the dashboard. Here you'll find linked views for all the key databases: content, ad campaigns, analytics, hooks and CTAs, and hashtags and keywords, giving you a clear overview of all the important things in one place. Starting with content, the first view is today, which shows only what needs attention today based on the to-do date set for each post. Each piece of content includes status, assignee, to-do date, publish date, platform, type, purpose, and alerts, so you always know what's going out and when. The open view shows all content that's still in progress, whether it's due today, tomorrow, or later. The overdue view makes sure nothing slips through the cracks. It highlights content that should have been completed earlier and even tells you how many days it's overdue. Next, the scheduled view lets you quickly see content that's ready and scheduled to go live. The published view helps you review what has already gone out. The platform view shows where each piece of content will be published, whether it's a blog, Instagram, Facebook, or any other platform. You can add as many platforms as you need based on your workflow. You also have this week and this month views, including a calendar where you can easily drag and drop content from one day to another. Finally, there's the archived view. Once content is no longer part of your active workflow, you can archive it to keep everything clean and restore it anytime if needed. Next up, we have ad campaigns. Here you can see campaigns that are running, open, scheduled, or completed. Each campaign includes properties like name, platform, to-do date, campaign duration, and budget, so you always know exactly where things stand. Then we have analytics. When you create an analytics entry, you can link it to content or a campaign and track metrics like impressions, likes, comments, saves, clicks, follower growth, ROAS, and conversion rate. I'll show you this in more detail when we jump into the analytics database. You can also filter analytics by platform, which makes it much easier to understand what's performing well and where. Then we have hooks and call to actions, where you store engaging hooks and call to actions that you can reuse across content. And the last database view on the dashboard is hashtags and keywords, where you can organize hashtag and keyword groups by platform, niche, or difficulty, and link them directly to content or campaigns when needed. I'll show you how that works in a moment. Now let's talk about the left navigation. You'll notice a placeholder graphic at the top. You can replace this with your brand logo or remove it entirely for a cleaner look. You'll also find quick action buttons to create new content or new campaigns directly from the dashboard. These buttons are pre-configured using templates, so they automatically pull in all the right properties and settings. No unnecessary steps. Below that, we have brand pages. If you've ever managed a brand, you know how important brand strategy and brand guidelines are, especially for consistent social media execution. The brand strategy page is where you define your brand overview, including mission, vision, tone of voice, and core values, along with brand goals, positioning, content pillars, and archetype. These pages are fully customizable. We've given you a safe playground where you can edit, rename, duplicate, or restructure sections freely. Since there are no formulas or relations here, nothing will break, even if you're new to Notion. Similarly, the brand guide page keeps your visual and creative guidelines in one place. Colors, typography, mood boards, and references. So everything stays consistent as you or your team execute content. Now we move into the core hubs, the databases that make this system powerful, scalable, and efficient. First is the Idea Bank. This is where you capture ideas on the go, whether you're scrolling social media, brainstorming, or suddenly get inspired. And the most thoughtful part? You can convert any idea into real content with just one click. For demo purposes, let's create a new idea. We'll call it Demo Idea, hit Enter, and the custom icon is added automatically. Select the platform, choose the content type, let's say video, set priority to medium, and add any notes. By default, the status is set to future reference, which you can change later. When you're ready, simply click Convert to Content. This opens the content creation pop-up instantly. No need to manually create content elsewhere. The system already knows the context. From here, you can assign an assignee, set to-do and publish dates, adjust the type, add captions, attachments, URLs, and notes. You'll also see a pre-published checklist with a progress bar. As you check things off, the progress updates automatically, helping you make sure nothing important is missed before publishing. Next, we move into relations. This is one of the most important features of the system. These relations and connections are what make everything work seamlessly together, and they're set up across almost every database in this template where they make sense. They help you stay organized not just now, but also in the long run. Imagine having hundreds of content pieces and ad campaigns in the system. You and your team would want clear visibility into which content is linked to which hashtags, keywords, target audiences, hooks, and analytics. By connecting everything properly, the system keeps all this information linked and accessible at all times, allowing you to track performance, reuse insights, and make informed decisions whenever needed. This is essentially how the system replaces messy spreadsheets. Everything stays connected, structured, automated, and easy to track. Another important relation we have here is with the tasks database. Once that's done, the system takes care of progress tracking automatically. These daily and weekly progress bars is visible on the main dashboard, so you can immediately see how are you or your team from completing the tasks. Now that we are done adding all the important details for this content while converting it from an idea, let's go to the content database, or maybe the dashboard for now, to see if it actually worked. And there you go. Our demo idea is now real content. Quick recap. We captured an idea, converted it into content, and everything synced automatically. The content database itself gives you a focused space to plan and manage content without distractions. Any changes made here automatically reflect on the dashboard. I am not going to create a new content since we have just followed the content creation process from the Idea Bank database. But of course, if you would just like to create new content without having anything to do with Idea Bank, you can do it here and follow the same process as we did earlier. Next, ad campaigns work similarly. You can create a campaign, set duration and budget, assign goals, connect hashtags, audiences, tasks, and later link analytics once results come in. In analytics, you create entries, link them to content or campaigns, and manually log performance metrics. Hashtags and keywords allow you to store and organize keyword ideas, filter them by platform, and even track difficulty scores for reference. Hooks and call to actions work the same way, a reusable library of copy elements to speed up content creation. Then we have goals, where you define and track objectives over time. And target audience, where you define personas and connect them directly to content or campaigns. Okay, now we have two very interesting databases that are closely connected to each other, Team and Timesheet. Let's start with Team. This database is used to manage your team members, whether they're in-house or remote. In any case, you'll want to assign roles and allocate time on a weekly or monthly basis, and that's exactly what this database helps you do. For example, here we have a designer with 160 allocated hours, but only 130 hours spent, which means we have a buffer of 30 hours. For the social media manager, we've allocated 120 hours, and they've spent exactly 120, so the system clearly shows this as aligned. And then we have a content writer with 80 allocated hours, but 83.5 hours spent, which triggers an overrun alert. So the overall purpose here is simple: tracking your team and their time spent so you can make informed decisions, stay profitable, and avoid unnecessary overtime. Now, the obvious question is, where is this data coming from? This information comes from the timesheet database, which is linked directly to each team member. I'll show you how to set that up in just a moment. Inside the team database, you can select a person from your workspace, assign a manager, and define roles, all from a clean, structured interface. Once you've created a page or entry for a team member in the team database, the next step is to create a corresponding timesheet entry in the timesheet database. The name of the timesheet needs to include two things: the name of the person and the time period, usually the month. This is important because one team member can have multiple timesheets. For example, if a designer works with you in September, you'll have a September timesheet. If they continue in October, you simply create a new timesheet for October. Each timesheet has its own start and end dates to calculate allocated hours correctly. The same applies to in-house teams. Whether someone is full-time or part-time, you still assign a fixed number of hours, for example, 160 hours for full-time or 80 hours for part-time, and reset the timesheet when the period ends. When you create a new timesheet entry, you simply use the person's name and the time duration, such as a month or a week, then allocate the total hours for that period. By the end of the period, either you or the team member can enter the actual time spent in the hours worked property. The system then automatically calculates the balance and shows you a clear summary, whether there's a buffer, an overrun, or if everything is aligned. For example, if Bridget spent 130 hours while her allocated time was 120 hours in September, the summary updates instantly, both here and in the team database, because the two databases are connected and constantly in sync. So once you've created a team member and their timesheet, the final step is simply to connect the timesheet back to the team database. I know it might sound a little complex at first, but once you do it once or twice, it becomes very intuitive. And from that point on, the system pretty much runs itself. All right, so now we've covered all the important parts of this template. The last thing I want to show you is the custom-designed assets that come included. With this template, you're not just getting a system. You're also getting 65+ custom-designed assets, including covers, template icons, database icons, page icons, and more. So let's jump into Figma for a quick look. As you can see, there are over 65 assets, and the best part is that every single one is designed for both light and dark modes. So you actually get two versions of each asset. For example, these are the template icons for the main dashboard. This one is for light mode, and this one is for dark mode. Here you'll see the smaller icons used for databases and individual pages. And these are the covers. We spent a lot of time illustrating these because they're not just decorative. They're designed to be meaningful, cohesive, and consistent with the overall system. These are the covers for the main dashboard, and here you can see the database covers. Again, available in both light and dark modes, since many people prefer working in dark mode. If you zoom in, you'll notice that nothing ever pixelates or looks blurry. That's because all assets are provided in SVG format, along with PNG versions if you prefer using those. We also include page covers, again in both light and dark modes, for all the key pages in the template. So when you buy this template, you're not just getting a Notion setup, you're getting a complete visual toolkit with over 65 assets in multiple formats to make your workspace as polished and enjoyable as possible. All right, that's everything for this powerful and user-friendly Notion template. Thank you so much for sticking around till the end. I really appreciate your time and interest in this system. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments or reach out directly. I'm always happy to help. We're constantly working on new systems, and we spend a lot of time designing these templates to help you unlock their full potential and save time every day. So stay tuned, hit follow or subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.